Hey guys, okay, so today's vlog, I guess, is more of from a parenting perspective, and what I want to talk about is how do we support our children? How do we support them with compassion, love, but wisdom at the same time, so that we don't create these little mopey minions that are just always worried about self or have this victim mentality? How do we raise kids that are alpha in society? They become wise and they have this mindset of whatever is done onto me is because I created that situation. I was a mirror to it. How do you create children that are aware? So one of the examples that I want to give you is moping. So for example, like, how do you support a child when they obviously feel really bad about something that happened? It may have happened on the playground, or it may have happened in the sport that they play. In my instant, my son plays football, and he is a great athlete. He's really good at football. And what happened was, he is so used to catching the ball all the time because he's good at it, that on Sunday's game, just last Sunday, he fumbled the ball. And it would have been a touchdown if he didn't fumble the ball. So he was really, really upset. And I had to think about it, and I had to just kind of like take a step back and be like, how am I going to parent him right now? What do I do where I show compassion and I show kindness, I show love, but I also show wisdom, and I show him that motion of forward movement, not to get locked in his victim mentality. He was being hard on himself, not so victim, I guess. He was just like, if I had done this, then this would have happened. If I had done this, would have happened. So I've heard this somewhere else, obviously. And I just said to him, look, I understand you're used to catching the ball. I get that. You're used to, because you work hard as an athlete, you're used to making those touchdowns. But these things happen, and they're created for learning lessons. But of course, when you're in that moping state, he wasn't really hearing me. He was just really upset, and I could tell he wasn't hearing me. So I basically just said to him, okay, I'm gonna leave this alone. I understand that you're upset. I'm gonna make you a nice dinner when we go home. But here's the one thing that I'm gonna tell you right now. You're allowed 24 hours to mope. Use those 24 hours wisely and decide how you're going to do this, because within 24 hours, I want an even better athlete. I don't just want moping, I should have, could have, would have, but I want an actual play in your mind's eye. I want you to visualize and feel a win for your next play. You have 24 hours to do this. I will put up with you moping for 24 hours. I won't say anything. I will give you compassion through silence, because I truly am sorry that happened. It's also just part of life. It's part of learning. It's part of growth. You don't want to hear that right now, but I will put up with this moping for 24 hours, and that is it. That's it. And it worked. It actually worked. So I wanted to make a vlog about it. Use this, parents. Like, especially if you have athletes on your hand, kids that are hard on themselves, or if something even happens on the playground, or if you have kids that are used to this victim mentality and just blaming others all the time, let them put it on themselves. Get them to write out, okay, how is it the other person's fault and not yours? Like, what happened? Make them write this stuff out. I used to do this when my son was younger. all the time. He had 2 journals, Black Spider-Man, White Spider-Man. Black Spider-Man was his moping journal, and Red Spider-Man just was a regular journal of things that he loved. I basically created that Red Spider-Man journal. I set him up to visualize. So this was his like daydreaming journal. So he could visualize, what do you want to do today? And it's really cute. Like the stuff that he would write in there was, like some days I want to go to the stars today. Okay, how are you gonna do that? And I close my eyes and I'm just gonna see the stars and I'm gonna be there. Perfect. Whereas Black Spider-Man was, okay, why did that happen? I need to know why did you not listen to me when I asked you to put your 3 shoes on 3 times, and now for the 3rd day this week you're late for elementary school, dude. Like, it's grade 4. You're making us late by not listening to me. Why aren't you listening? So that kind of stuff he had to articulate in his Black Spider-Man journal, and he could articulate it in pictures, because he started this journal when he was super young, right? Like 4. So you could, like, he would articulate it in pictures, and it's interesting. You will know where how your child thinks, because in the beginning, his Black Spider-Man journal was, he would fill it up with, you did that, Mom. You did that, so I did this. It was your fault at such a young age. It was all about me. I was creating this horrible, miserable life for this like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old. And then by the time he kind of got to like 8, because I wasn't putting up with that, now that's like grade 3. Yeah, I believe it was in grade 3. I was like, no. You're going to turn this language around, and you're going to, why did I say that to you? What happened here? Keep going up. And they're not going to like it. He would cry because he didn't understand. He didn't understand what it was for self-inquiry. He didn't understand, like, how does she not understand this is her fault? With kids and society, you're just so used to blaming. You'd be surprised at what your kids come up with in their journals. So when I started teaching him, and it was hard in the beginning, he didn't like it, he cried, he fought me, but when I broke through, and it takes some time, and started getting him to understand that, no, buddy, you did this to yourself. And it's that exact moment in a picture when he would draw a picture, but he would see it in the picture like, oh, okay, so if I had asked you to help me tie my shoelaces because I was going to be late for school at that moment, then I wouldn't be late for school, but I insisted in tying my shoelaces. Okay, perfect. So now what are we gonna do here? Can we give you a timer? So it created this like solution-based thinking, like, yeah, Mom, put your iPhone on, give me 5 minutes. If I can't tie my shoelaces in 5 minutes, then can you help me? Yes, I can help you. And we weren't really late for school at all, unless it was my fault this time, for the rest of the year. So these were just some small examples of how I did parenting, man, and how I did it with compassion, with love, humility, while teaching him that same thing. And I mirrored it onto him. Wisdom, knowledge, so and not giving him too much like, oh, like he's so special and he's always right. That's like the worst thing when you've got these really entitled kids with an ego. Man, as they grow up, a lot of them turn out to be assholes. Watch the documentary, by the way, Assholes, on Netflix. It's on right now. Such a good documentary. And there's a lot of Canadian examples, and they even talk about the Canadian RCMP in it. And I just loved it. I just love that movie. So watch it if you like. But essentially, if we don't make our kids accountable at a very young age, that is how we do raise a society full of assholes. So anyways, love you guys.